What's going on, everybody? The Real Sharif M here, aka Manganus Steel, your favorite knife designer. And, please check out my Instagram. The link will be down in the description below. And if you guys are new here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. This is going to be a bit of a short one, but basically, has there ever been a knife that you guys saw all the hype about, you passed on, and then later you got your hands on it and you were like, dang, now I guess I kind of understand it. And man, you start kind of second guessing yourself. Well, for me, that happened with the Spyderco Smock. This was sent to me by my buddy Stevie, said Stevie. He will be linked down in the description below. And he sent this to me to check out. And man, I've had it for, I want to say like 10 days, maybe like 2 weeks. And if you've seen my shorts, you'd have seen me reference this thing before. But I gotta say, after handling it, I kind of understand what the hype was all about. And it's definitely made me second guess whether or not I should have one of these in my collection. Now, if you know me, I tend to prefer a little bit more pokey, stabby blade types, So it's a little surprising for me to be considering something like this sort of, I don't know what to call this, maybe like a modified reverse Tonto. But this is actually like a really good knife. And the reason why I say that is because of a number of factors. First and foremost, it has a blade shape that I have found very, very useful with this deep hollow grind. It does have a fairly pokey tip, despite it being kind of, this turned down shape, right? So I am able to still use it the way I normally would, and that deep hollow really loves to kind of like power through material. Now, one of the things that really stood out to me about this is just the fact that it's a button lock, and normally I do not like button locks. If you guys are after fidgety knives, I think there are better solutions than button locks. For example, Spyderco's compression lock. Very, very fidgety, You can sit and you can play with it all day. Or you can use an access bar style lock, like this Giant Mouse Ace Nazca. The reason I don't tend to like button locks is because they don't tend to have the strongest lockup. But this Smock is an exception. Why? Because it uses the compression lock. So you see, you've got the liner lock here, but you also have a pin there, reinforcing it from movement in the vertical axis, which gives you an incredible lockup. And it's just so nice and so easy to use consistently that it really kind of, this may be the only button lock that I truly, truly like. Now, you combine that with excellent ergonomics. You can hold it like this. You can get it into a pinch grip. You can even choke up on it very, very comfortably if you want really fine tip control. The neutral handle shape really lends itself to being incredibly useful. And on top of that, you have Spyderco build quality. And in this case, this one came in CPM M4. And I don't know, man, it's just really, really nice. This particular model was modified by Stevie with these titanium scales and Lynch Northwest clip, because let's face it, you got to throw out the Spyderco clips as soon as you get them. I mean, I do on all of my Spydercos. I tend to go for the Rips Garage Tech milled titanium ones, because they're just slim and they disappear in the hand. But I got nothing but positive things to say about this Lynch Northwest. And overall, the knife just fires open with authority with the flipper. You can reverse flick it, you can slow roll it, and every aspect of just use and access to this knife is really, really excellent. And you guys, as I don't know if I already mentioned this, but you may have seen me, refer to this in shorts. And part of the reason why is because a lot of people like these sort of turned down, like sheep's footy blade shapes, and they're very popular in the budget sort of category. But the problem is, like, I feel a lot of budget knives just don't get the fundamentals right, but this does. So instead of buying, like 2 or 3 budget knives that you're ultimately going to use as like the flavor of the moment and then pass on, why not save your money and invest in something that is a lot more robust, has better blade steel, and is just overall a better design knife? Now, that's just my take. Buy once, cry once. And it's something that I've done with my collection recently, because I realized, like, I have a lot of stuff that I don't use, and the stuff that I do tend to use is more robust like this, because I know I can rely on it, I know I can beat on it, and it's going to survive. And this smock is a perfect example of that. Now, as far as criticisms for this knife go, I'll be honest, when I first saw this thing, I said, what the heck is going on with this right here? But now, after handling it and seeing it and looking at it in depth, I understand why that's there. And the reason why is because it was needed to clear the compression lock mechanism. So I at first thought it was some weirdly designed finger choil, but it's not. When you actually choke up on the knife, you're up here. But this is just a byproduct of, if you want to get a good lock, you gotta have that, like, I don't want to call this like a plunge grind, but it is what it is, and it really doesn't affect the utility of the knife at all. And I've actually come to appreciate it as from like an aesthetic point of view, realizing now that it's functional. Only other critique that I really have for this knife is it could use a bit of jimping here on the edge of the flipper. I mean, really, this is a flipper I rarely ever fail, to be 100% honest with you, but there have been a few times where I used it left-handed, where I didn't get my hand exactly in the right position, and I kind of slipped off of it a little bit. But really, I mean, this thing is consistent, and it opens with such authority that I really, really appreciate this design. I'm going to cut it off about there, because the reality is there are tons of reviews of this. You've already seen it a bunch, but if you are ever on the fence about picking one of these up, you definitely should. And if you're thinking about budget options as, an idea or an alternative to spending the money on this, skip those. Get one of these. It's a phenomenal knife. No questions asked.